What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Epic7 video today here on Fort Misery Gaming. And today, guys, I wanted to show you, I know all the other YouTubers are like, you gotta have ML Ball, you gotta have ML Rin, you gotta have ML Armithia, you gotta have ML Ken, you gotta have ML Rule, C Armin, all these OP units. I'm gonna show you guys the team I use. I'm right now, like, I was in Champion 4 earlier, and I took some L's because my defense team is terrible. But I was able to get to Champion 4. I did get the, the first time achieve rewards, and I finished in Champion 5 last night, as you guys can see, because obviously if I didn't finish in Champion 5 minimum, I wouldn't have been able to climb this much today already. So I started in Champion 5 this morning, and, my win rate's very, very high, almost at 90%, and then my defense is usually, like, crap, like 7%. It's terrible. But that will improve a little bit once I get Shooting Star Agates built. But this is my approach to it. So this is my team. So this is the team I use. Basically, the whole concept of this is I use Diene for our attack buff. We use our and the barrier to help out with cleanses and to survive a little bit. Then we obviously have Watcher Schuri, who has a SS imprint, so he's giving, I want to say 9, it's either 9 or 8 speed to all allies. And I'll go over my particular stats in today's video as well, so you guys can kind of see what numbers wise you would have to need to do what I do in my progression in Arena. But Watcher Schuri has his S3 maxed out. That's the only skill investment you need to do, because a lot of the time he will die after he does his attack. So just keep that in mind, and he definitely needs to be run on a speed comp, a turn 1 comp if you're going to use him. And then we have Luna, who is another big hitter that can just kind of like nuke people out and stuff like that. So, and then Shadow Rose is still who I'm using for my speed, because Lots still hasn't built up his speed high enough yet. I haven't maxed out Tagel's Ancient Book. So once I get that done, then he will take over more than likely in my speed comp. Of a kind of a cool comp I have designed in my head, and we'll see if it works. But anyway, Shadow Rose basically is there to get obviously the push and pull. She's there also to strip away some debuffs like Immortality from Kayron. But generally, you can't really do that, because generally the Kayron builds are running DN from what I've seen in Champion. So the likelihood of you out of like 4 or 3 buffs of you actually hitting Immortality and then being able to follow up with another unit to attack him is very, very slim odds. It's really never happened to me in like the last 3 weeks. So that's kind of where I'm at with my team. And then Luna is just good of how mine's built, because she has decent tankiness, and she just procs a lot of dual attacks, and she procs a lot of damage just overall with RNG. I know a lot of people don't like her for PvP because she is semi-RNG built, but she honestly just puts in damage so much that she, like, in 2 hits can kill a Crimson Armin or a Crow. A lot of times she can one-shot ML Ken, sometimes DN, a lot of units that you're going to see a lot in a PvP Champion. So she's been a very big staple for me. So when I'm going into my matches, and I really have to be selective on who I fight, when it's speed comps, I generally try to avoid them, just because Shadow Rose does have 5 to 7 speed slower than every other speed comp. So even with Watcher Schuri, that gives me a little bit of a buffer. But if my Shadow Rose was flat 225 speed, and if my Lots is going to end up being 225 speed, then I'm pretty confident I can outspeed them, because with Watcher Schuri, I'm going to have close to like 235, 240 speed. So like, especially against the Rusids, I should be pretty good. The opposing Shadow Roses I should be good at. So, but here when we see these units, the first team I would not want to fight, because you have Rule, Crimson Armin, and Crow. I don't know how good my chances would be to one-shot Rule. She's one of the hardest units to one-shot. So obviously Ken's the main threat, but you one-shot Ken, then Rule revives him, and then you're back in the same situation. So the likelihood of that happening is very, very low. Potentially what I could do is go after Rule with both Luna and Watcher Schuri, and then try to follow up against Ken later if I can survive enough to get cooldowns. But generally it's just not worth the risk. So the other teams I would fight down here would be the Angelica, Armin, Crow, Ken team. That's a pretty good team. I can take out, even with 2 attacks, I can take out the Ken easily. And then basically I just target them to see Armin and the Angelica and leave the Crow alone. Generally the Crow will have Arius, so he is going to be taking damage to build up for his S3 one-shot nuke. So you probably are going to lose a unit by that point in time, but you're going to be taking no damage from the other attacks against Crow's S1, his S2, and then the S1s from Crimson Armin and Angelica. So you'll have a lot of time to recover with this comp where Diene can just kind of like build yourself that barrier. And since my Luna's on lifesteal, she's going to be healing up the whole fight as well. And then here we go with another option is I will go after like Fat Cat, C. Armin, Destina, Crow, another big defensive tanky team. And another reason why this works really well is because Watcher Schuri has a very, very high success rate of killing Fat Cats, even with his evasion, because he gets that 15% increase in accuracy from being a light unit, and he will always one-shot Fat Cats. I've never seen a Fat Cat once survive, so generally that's a very, very easy thing to deal with. And Maid Chloe is a lot easier for me to deal with than Rule is, because I can one-shot a lot of the units with Watcher Schuri in the game, like the higher up, like ML Kens die, Fat Cats die, you know, units like that are always going to get one-shotted. So my goal here, even for the last team here, so out of these, I can take out 3 pretty comfortably. I would say I'm very confident I can win those matches. So winning 3 out of 5 of a set refresh is really good. Obviously, I'm not building consecutive points and getting the bonuses, but honestly, with what I have in my box, I know I can't hit legend. So I'm just comfortable staying in champion, getting that increase of Skystones, and that's kind of like, just wanted to show you guys that, like, you guys don't need to have 7 ML Nat 5s to be, decent in PvP. Like, I'm ranked 310 in global server. I think that's pretty damn good for being in the top 500. So I'm pretty, happy with that. And then the same thing with the last match here. You go Watcher Schuri to kill the Fat Cat, and then you would try to have Luna on the affinity, neutralizes affinity damage to go after the Basar. And then you could just either at that point single out the Chloe or the Kayron. You could potentially use the S3 just to get Kayron's immortality going, but keep in mind Chloe is going to give an attack buff, and she's also going to give a resurrection to Kayron, so then you're going to have to worry about resurrection and immortality, and I would rather just worry about Kayron later. And keep in mind, he does more damage the lower health he has, so depending how fast that Kayron is, you may get the second turn with Diene to put up your barrier before Kayron even goes. It depends how fast they built him. So with that said, guys, that's how I do it. That's how I approach this. So yes, I use a lot of refreshes. I use gold to refresh, but it's all worth it when you're getting the amount of Skystones and glorious points at the end of the day. So let's go into our heroes, though, and you guys can kind of see how they're built. So we have first Diene. Those are her stats. So she's been the exact same since you guys have seen her on the channel. So if you guys are new, those are her stats. I'm not really going to go too much into her since I've covered her a lot. Luna, the only thing that's changed is we finally got her 6-star awakened, so she's even closer to that 12k HP with 11,926. A little bit more attack and defense, but not too much. So the speed works for her because of the CR push, so she still will get a turn before the other units will. So just overall, I really love her build since she's on the lifesteal set. I wish my lifesteal armor rolled a little better for stat-wise for her, but it didn't roll enough. I want to say it was either crit hit chance or effectiveness, but still, this is still decent. Unfortunately, the armor does not give you attack percent or crit damage. Otherwise, I could get that a little higher. But, she has three pieces of the Abyss 85 on her, so that is really good for her. Once I get Uberia's Tooth, that may also improve her in Arena. I'll have to test that between Hellcutter to see what's more consistent for damage. And then we have our Watcher Schuri is built like so. So almost 70k CP, you guys see here. He's got almost 3k attack, and then he's got 163 speed. Health at 9,000 about, and then crit damage at 260, crit rate at 88, which when you combine that with Luna's devotion, what is her devotion at? He's getting additional 7.2, so that equals him out being at like, what is that, like 90%? More than 90% actually. So he's speed 9, so you guys see that 9 speed. So when he gets the last one, everyone is going to have 10 speed. So really, Luna has like 154 speed, and then Diene's got 190 speed, and then Shadow Rose has where's our Shadow Rose at? And our Shadow Rose is at 226, which is pretty darn fast. So, and she's not even great for speed, to be honest. And then she's on Helgelance just if I can get some triggers on that to get additional combat readiness. If perhaps I can like interrupt and take a turn in between, like the CR pushes and stuff like that I encounter. But Watch the Shirt, I'm actually very, very happy with. Also, if I get the Tofa maxed out, I have enough dupes. I just have to get enough charms. So that will also increase the amount of damage that it can do as well. So that may also help out with one-shotting as well. But I know the helmet, I want to switch. I want to get a little bit higher crit damage and attack. So if I can get a heroic helmet with similar stats, I would like to have speed, crit hit, damage, and attack. Then I'll obviously have more opportunity for better rolls. It did roll kind of evenly. I think the speed was innate. Whatever it was, because I think it rolled speed on like the level 9 roll, and then it rolled the effect resistance on the level 12 roll, and then I want to say the final roll was either effect resistance or attack. Obviously it wasn't speed, and probably wasn't crit hit damage either, but the helmet is something I'd want to replace eventually. The ring's pretty darn good because it does have crit hit chance, it's got speed, and it's got attack percent on 85, so that's really good. This is really, really good because it's got a epic 65 crit damage. It rolled crit hit chance. Decent, not great, because you guys saw it rolled a lot of defense. If that all went into crit hit chance, then I'd have more flexibility to play around with some of my other gears, so I wouldn't have to rely a lot on crit hit chance rolls. And then these boots, I'm contemplating going into attack boots, but at the same time, like, I've got a 20% attack speed roll, plus crit hit damage speed roll, plus crit hit chance speed roll, or not speed roll, plus crit hit chance percent roll, crit hit damage percent roll, and 20% attack roll. You know, obviously it would have more, we'd have 60% attack as opposed to 20, but I'd have to test to see when I change up my comp if Watcher Shuri will still be able to get pushed to the front of the line before my enemies can attack and kill him. If he can, then I could switch this for an attack percent boots and see how that would work. But we'll have to see on that. But anyway, guys, that's just, I wanted to show you guys that you can use your ML4s, some of your OG, you know, not OG, but regular 5 stars like Luna, like Diene, you know, units like that can really elevate you in PvP. That you don't have to have Ball, you don't have to have Rin, you don't have to have, you know, ML Aramithia, ML Ken, ML Rule, Crimson Armin, all those amazing units that are obviously, we all know are broken for PvP. So just be smart, and hopefully if you guys build your units correctly, you guys can do a similar result. If you guys have any other questions about other potential units and comps you want to know about, hit me up in Discord or in the comment section down below, and I'll be more than happy to help you guys as best I can. And until then, guys, this is your boy Fort Missouri Gaming. Hope you guys all enjoyed today's video, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.